All eyes were on two figures who had long been the center of speculation, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan. In a matter of seconds, their expressions, their choice of words, even their pauses in breathing felt like the hidden message millions had been waiting for. And that was where it all began, a moment no one was truly prepared for. The event wasn't designed to be controversial. It was just one of many public appearances they'd made as major stars in the Chinese entertainment industry. However, the long histories they carried made everything feel different. Every small movement was analyzed, every interaction scrutinized with an almost absurd intensity. Since the beginning of their careers together, the relationship between Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan had been a topic that never truly subsided. Fans, the media, and even casual netizens continued to build their own narratives. Some believed in a genuine friendship, while others believed there was something deeper, something never directly revealed. And for years, both chose to remain silent. They focused on their respective careers, avoiding comments that could muddy the waters. Their silence became a mystery, and that mystery only further fueled the public's curiosity. But that day, something was different. When the long-avoided question finally presented itself, the atmosphere shifted. There was no visible script, no preconceived answers. Just two individuals seemingly determined to speak their own way. Wang Yibo was the first to respond. In a calm yet firm tone, he spoke about the long journey he had been on. He didn't mention the rumors specifically, but each sentence felt like a missing puzzle piece. He emphasized the importance of focus, hard work, and how public pressure can shape a person. Then, Xiao Zhan continued. His voice was slightly more emotional, as if a burden had finally been released. He spoke of gratitude, of fan support, and of how the past doesn't always need to be detailed to be understood. What made this moment so powerful wasn't what they said explicitly, but how they said it. The momentary meeting of eyes, the slight smile that appeared at the right moment, it all felt more honest than 1,000 words. Fans, both in person and on screen, felt the same thrill. Social media exploded within minutes. Video clips, snippets of dialogue, and even new theories emerged at an incredible rate. Many called this a wordless confession, a form of communication that didn't require direct confirmation, yet powerful enough to convey a message that had been hidden. On the other hand, others saw it as a professional move. Two prominent actors knew how to control the narrative without getting caught up in it. They gave just enough to satisfy curiosity, but not enough to create new controversy. This actually added another layer of meaning to the moment. Was this a form of honesty, or a carefully calculated strategy? The answer is likely somewhere in between. What's clear is that the fandom's reaction demonstrated the profound impact. Many were moved, even in tears, as they finally saw the human side of their two idols. They no longer seemed like distant public figures, but as individuals experiencing pressure and emotions. Across various platforms, the discussion deepened. It wasn't just about their relationship anymore, but also about how the entertainment industry treats artists, and how the public often demands more than they should. Some observers even called this a turning point, not just for Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, but also for the public's view of celebrity privacy. That not everything needs to be explained in detail to be appreciated. Interestingly, after that moment, the two returned to their usual routine. There was no additional clarification, no official statement that furthered the issue. It was as if they had said everything that needed to be said without actually saying it. And perhaps that's where their true strength lies. In a world filled with overstatements and endless clarifications, they chose a more subtle approach, a more human one. For some, this might feel like a cliffhanger. There are no definitive answers, no confirmation to rely on. But for others, that's precisely the beauty, a space for understanding without being forced. That moment has now become part of fandom history, an event that will continue to be talked about, analyzed, and remembered as one of the most emotional points in their journey. And in the end, perhaps the biggest question isn't what really happened, but why did that moment feel so important? Because sometimes, what we're looking for isn't answers, it's the feeling that we've finally seen something real. As time passes, footage of that moment continues to be replayed, analyzed frame by fans trying to find the smallest details they might have missed. Every facial expression, every change in tone of voice, even their body language becomes the subject of seemingly endless discussion. Simple things become fraught with meaning. Some fans are beginning to realize that perhaps they've been too focused on concrete answers, forgetting the long journey these two artists have been on. That what they see on screen is only a small part of a much more complex and personal reality. On the other hand, others are beginning to see that moment as a sign of maturity. In both Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, it's clear that they're no longer in the same phase they once were. The way they spoke, chose their words, and controlled their emotions demonstrated significant growth as individuals and as public figures. The entertainment industry itself has never been particularly hospitable to uncertainty. Everything tends to be categorized, labeled, and turned into a readily consumable narrative. But in this case, they successfully resisted fitting into that framework. This created a new dynamic among fans. Instead of being divided by differing interpretations, many found common ground in appreciating what they were given, a moment of honesty that was neither forced nor contrived. Many also began to change the way they supported their idols. From being full of demands and expectations, they became more aware of boundaries. They began to realize that behind the camera, there was a real life that didn't always need to be shared. The media, too, slowly shifted its approach. While previously focused on sensationalism and speculation, some now began to highlight the emotional side and deeper meaning of the event. It was a small but significant shift in how the story was told. But of course, not everyone saw it the same way. Some still felt that the moment should have provided clearer answers, that after all these years, the public deserved certainty. And these differing views actually enrich the evolving discussion. Ultimately, that moment remains something difficult to define with certainty. It wasn't just a clarification, nor was it just a casual performance. It was a blend of emotion, history, and the courage to speak out, even if only a little, amidst immense pressure. And perhaps, precisely because of its uncertainty, this moment will live on in the memories of many. Interestingly, the more time passes, the more it seems that the impact of that moment hasn't faded, but rather changed form. It no longer exists as a sensation widely discussed daily, but as a collective memory that lives on in the minds of fans. Something that occasionally resurfaces, bringing the same feelings as the first time. For some, that moment served as a reminder that not all relationships need to be defined by the public. Some things are simply understood without explanation, felt without announcement. And in today's open world, this kind of understanding feels increasingly rare. Others saw it as a lesson in how to handle pressure gracefully. Without confrontation, without excessive drama, they demonstrated that simple calm and honesty can be far more powerful than lengthy, defensive statements. And perhaps, ultimately, that's why this moment is so powerful. Not because of what's explicitly revealed, but because of what they've managed to keep private. It's a delicate balance, but one they've managed to achieve, and that's precisely where the story's power lies.